Hello my touchy friends, this is our next tutorial in our series on web scraping using Python. I'm Scrappy and this is Worth Web Scraping. There we go. Hello to everyone and welcome to Web Scraping. This is our next tutorial on web scraping using Python. In today's tutorial we are going to scrap data from another website. We are going to AliExpress and we are going to scrap some data from there. So AliExpress is a website, an e-commerce website where you can buy a lot of stuff, and it operates in many countries. And this is kind of China's biggest e-commerce website, and there is a lot of stuff that you can find on any of the other e-commerce website that you can find on AliExpress, because they have a lot of products. They have largest catalog in the world. So there is a lot of data that you can scrap from here. So this is the page that I searched for actually. So I have searched for graphics card and I found this product of Asus, and I'm going to scrap some data related to it. So now the issue with the AliExpress is that this is a kind of difficult to scrap website. Anyway, it is JavaScript and website. So when we use our standard request library, so what we will get is a JavaScript response which we cannot decode, and because of that we cannot scrap the data using our just request library. So for that reason we need to send a request using either Selenium or something else. So Selenium, if you are not aware with that, so it's a bit difficult to get started with. But there is another beautiful library that is sRequest.html. So till now we have learned request library only, so there is this library called request.html. So I will show you the page. So this is the library request.html. So what this library is, this library have full JavaScript code. So when you send a request using this library, what happens is under the hood it uses the Puppeteer. So Puppeteer is another package that mimics your browser like a Selenium, and so this library uses Puppeteer under the hood. You don't need to explicitly deal with Puppeteer, you just need to deal with request.html and it will do everything in the background. So it will create a browser using Puppeteer, and then it will scrap all of the data and render all of the JavaScript and give you all the data that you want. So this is really a good library, so we are going to use this library today. And if you want to learn more about this library, do go to this page, pypi.org page of there, and there is another beautiful tutorial that has been written here, and you can go to this tutorial and it deals in depth how to use this library. So I have provided both the links in the top of the code, so you can go to these two links and learn more about this library. So we are going to scrap data from AliExpress, and first I'm going to show you that using our standard request library, how we can't scrap the data in like using a beautiful soup and request library, and then I'm going to show you how we'll scrap it using our request.html. So I'm importing my three libraries here, so request and beautiful soup, and then from the request.html import async HTML session. So this request HTML library has two kind of session, so it creates session. So we have seen that in the request also that we have a session object. So that session object, when we were dealing with the post request and stuff, so that keeps our connection with the web server active, and it helps us in scraping the data and even filling the login forms and stuff. So same way we have this in request HTML, we have two sessions, like one is HTML session. So that HTML session is useful when using normal website which are not JavaScript heavy, and then there is a async HTML session which is specifically for the JavaScript heavy websites. So you use this async HTML session. So that's what we are going to do today. I'm importing async HTML session, and then there is another import. So first, if you don't have this request HTML library, you have to install it. So do a pipe install request HTML. Then there is another thing that you need to actually install, that is PyPDF. So this is for Puppeteer. So this library uses Puppeteer in the back end, but we still need to import it just so that the library can use it. So for that reason we install this and then do import.patch Puppeteer, and this is the only statement you have to write about Puppeteer. You don't have to do any other work with this. So just import it and leave it here. Rest of the things in library will take care of itself. Now first, what I'm doing is I'm sending a GET request to the AliExpress, and I'm just using my simple request library. Not request HTML, but request library. So for that reason, I'm defining my headers here, and then I'm sending a GET request. So once I send a GET request, I will get a response, and I have cookies here. I'll remove the cookies for now, and what we'll do is we will send first GET request, and then we'll get the cookies from the website itself, and then we will assign them. So I'm sending GET request. So when you are sending a first GET request, you can get by without specifying the cookies, so that's okay. But if you are sending a multiple request, then it is advised to be used the cookies. So to use the cookies first, get the cookies from the HTML from the website. So let me check the status code of this request, if that request was successful or not. So request was successful now, because if we are going to send a lot of requests, so it is advised to use cookies. So to get the cookies, what we have to do is we have to call the .cookies method on our HTML request that we send. So just call .cookie method and assign it back to a variable. So I'm calling HTML.cookie method on my request that I'm sent, and then I'm assigning it back to a variable called cookies. Now that I have done this, if I'm sending multiple requests, what I can do is I can add my cookies here. Just do this and add your cookies here in the request, and so this way you have to go to the page and copy the cookies from there. Just do it this way, so it works. Now I got the cookies. I'm creating my beautiful soup object html.content, and let's inspect our beautiful soup object. So if you see, we have got some data, and we have all the tags and all, but if we go down, what we will see is we have a lot of JavaScript here, and because of this thing we were not able to scrap data from here. So now let's see where my price is. So my price of this product is here, and if I want to grab it using Beautiful Soup now from Beautiful Soup object, I should search for this span tag and this class, and I should get this price out for using .text. But if I do that, what happens if I'm doing bs_object.find all span class product price value? If I run this, I will get an empty list. I'm not getting any data. The reason being response that we have got that is in JavaScript, and we are not able to render that, and for that reason we are not able to access any of our classes and stuff. So this happens when we have a JavaScript heavy website. So for that reason, HTML request comes to our rescue. So to start with the request HTML, what we have to do is we have to create a session. To create a session, we imported this async HTML session, assigned this back to a variable. So I'm calling it a session. So this create my a session. So when we have created our session, we have to send a GET request. So if we are using async method, then we have to send our request in this way, that we have to write await and then a session dot get. So this is the way in async method that the request work if we are not using async HTML. If you are using just a plain HTML session, we don't need to write a wait here. So that's the difference between two. Now, we don't need to define any of the headers with this particular library. We don't need to define any headers or cookies because that the library itself takes care. So because it creates a browser in the backend while it is sending the request. And so for that reason it handles cookies and user agent and everything internally. So we don't need to define them here. So now I will send this async request. Once it's done, we need to render our JavaScript that we receive as we send the request. So to do that, we have to call this method that is .html.arrender. So this was my request I have sent. So on this request, I'm using await r.html.arrender. So this is the syntax that you have to write when you are using this library, await r.html.arrender. So this .arrender method will render our JavaScript. And so after this is done, we will be able to access our elements. It will take some time to render all of the JavaScript. So JavaScript is done now. We can search for our element. So first thing that I'm going to search for is the name of the product. So let's see where the name of the product is coming. So the name of the product is coming under this h1 tag. So if I search for this h1 tag using my request HTML library and do a .text, I will find this product name. So find this h1 tag and do a .text and we shall get our product name out. So that's what I'm doing here. So the syntax for finding anything into this request HTML library is you have to write r.html.find and the tag that you want to search for. So if I want to search for h1 tag here, so I will write h1. So this is the way as we use .find all in the Beautiful Soup library. So same way we use .find method here. So this .find method work in the same way as our .find all in the Beautiful Soup object. So I'm finding this h1 tag, assigning it back to variable called h1. Then I am doing h1. So if I print this, just if I remove this zeros index and text, if I print this, what it will give me async object. So this what we are getting out here is this an async object. So if we want our text that we have, if you want that text out, what we have to do is we have to take this element out first. So for that we need to take the zeros index out. If there were multiple elements and if there were multiple h1 tag, there will come multiple elements, and in that case we can take 0, 1, 2, 3 index like that out as we do in our Python list. So we have to take this index out, zeroth index, and then do a .text of that. So this will give me the name of the product. So that's how we do using any tag. So if you are searching using any tag, do it in this way. Then most of our data is under classes. So if we search for the ratings of the product, so if we search for the how many ratings they have got, if we search for them, we see here like 8.8 is the rating. It is coming under this class overview rating average. So to find this class, what we have to do is we have to do a .find again r.html.find. But instead of just writing the name of the class, what we have to do now, like in the case of finding a tag, we just write the name of the tag. But when we have to find a class, we cannot write simply the name of the class. We have to add a dot in front of that. So wherever you are trying to find a class, just write a dot, then the class name, and you will find that class. So here .overview rating average, that's how we have write this in the syntax. So if I run the cell, I will get my rating out. So guys, if you want to learn more about this thing, you can go and read this tutorial actually. So this talks in detail about how to extract data using a request HTML. So it will talk about using the tags like they are extracting using title, and then to take out the text we have to take the index and then do dot text. So there is a lot of things that this tutorial talks about. So do go through this if you want to use this library. Then the similar way, if I want to find the rating, counts how many ratings this particular product has got. So it has 20 reviews. If I want to find it, what I have to just do is copy this class and write it a dot in front of that and put it in the dot find method, and I will get this out. So if you see, this is the class product reviews, and if I type this here, so our html.find.product reviewer reviews, so this will give me out my data. So it will give me 20 out. Now if you just remove this last step dot replace reviews, just to show you what it means, Control plus X, so I'm getting 20 reviews here. I don't want this reviews to be attached with my number. So for that reason, I'm just doing a dot replace, that dot replace reviews with the empty space, and so that will remove that review. Now to find the product price, again doing the same thing, dot product price value. Just go here and inspect where price is coming. So price is coming here, span tag class product price value. So we just need to copy this class and we can directly find it. So we don't have to go into the beautiful soup. Like what we will do is we will go to the span tag and then go to the class here. We can directly go to the class. So that's what I'm doing. So r.html.find.product price value, I've just put that class here, and this will give me the data out. So again, doing a dot replace, the reason is, let me show you. If I don't do this, I get this US added in front of my price, and I don't want that. So for that reason, I'm just doing a dot replace, replacing US with an empty space, and then do dot stripe to remove any empty spaces, and this will give me my prices in dollars. Now another great method in this library is that you can get all of the links that are on that page using just this simple method called dot absolute links. So this dot absolute links is going to give me all of the links that are available on that page. So just do r.html.absolute link, and it will give me all of the links that are available here. So if you want to grab the links that are available there, even if they are internal or external or anything, if you see, these are all the internal links, right? AliExpress.com, and then there are some external links like Play, Google.com, Play Store, and stuff. So you will get all of the links pretty easily from there. So it's very easy, like we don't have to go to href and then grab the one link at a time, then put it into a list and then go through that list. So we don't have to do that. This method is very powerful and it will grab all of the links. So that's all about requested HTML library and AliExpress. So that is all for today, my tetchy friends. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video tutorial, and do not stop visiting our website. Leave your comments below and ask me any question you have. I will be very happy to answer them. Link is given in the description of this video to get code and full material. Stay happy, stay safe, stay tetchy.